In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about sugar and cancer. Does sugar feed cancer? If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with cancer, this is either a question that you're asking yourself or a question that's been directly suggested to you by someone else. It's difficult to be online as a cancer survivor without being bombarded by people who believe sugar fuels cancer. But just because something's on the internet doesn't make it true. So let's dive into sugar and cancer and exactly what you need to know. When we talk about sugar fueling cancer, what foods are we talking about exactly? There are a lot of different foods that could be considered sugar. Of course, when I say sugar, the first thing that comes to mind is refined, processed, or added sugar. Things like cookies, cakes, treats, or ice cream. But sugar is also foods like fruits or grains. They're also broken down to glucose in our body. Now, before we get into the science of whether a cancer survivor should be eating sugar or not, there's one thing that I have to address. Eating too much sugar in your diet is not a good idea. We all know that, right? It's like grade 3 health class. You don't want to eat a diet that's full of sugary foods. Nutritionally, it just doesn't add very much to fuel your body. We know that 50 to 80% of people who are diagnosed with cancer are actually malnourished when they're diagnosed. So to fuel your body with mostly processed sugar is really not going to help support you through your cancer treatment. But here is exactly why I disagree with statements like this. You cannot just look at food from a nutritional standpoint. It's not that simple, because to us as human beings, food is actually so much more. It's social, it's cultural, it's how we connect and bond, it's how we show people we care. People who are in the camp of sugar fuels cancer will often say that you need to totally and completely eliminate sugar from your diet. But this leaves you to not be able to enjoy a cupcake at your daughter's birthday party or to share ice cream with some friends. These are moments of connection, and feeling safe and secure in your body is critical for cancer survivors. That's exactly why I'm gonna support you in not being fearful of your food. A breast cancer survivor that I work with really struggled with being fearful of food after cancer. She felt like she had caused her cancer, and if she ate sugar, it would come back. But she ate really healthy foods and she exercised a lot. She was doing a lot of the right things, but she still happened to be diagnosed with cancer. By unlearning the fear about sugar and cancer, she was able to share some really beautiful moments with her family. These are really important milestones to participate in, and eating one cupcake is not going to cause your cancer to come back. There is so much fear with cancer. Cancer equals fear. This stress on your body, this level of fear, this is not healthy for your body. You are not meant to stay in this space long term. So here's what you need to know about sugar and cancer. Time to kick the fear out and look at this from a place of power. There are a couple of theories around sugar and cancer, and this is basically how this conversation came to be. Cancer cells do have more insulin receptors than healthy normal cells. They do respond more to glucose to prompt their growth. Sounds so simple, right? It's so clear. They use more glucose than a normal cell, so if you cut out sugar, their growth will slow or stop. Unfortunately, the body is a little bit more complex, and cancer cells are actually quite smart. More on this in a little bit. But if we're gonna talk about sugar and cancer, then we have to talk about the Warburg Effect. Dr. Otto Warburg was a doctor in the 1930s that made an interesting discovery about cancer. He basically discovered that cancer consumes a lot of glucose. The reason why is because cancer cells are actually really bad at effectively using glucose for energy. And some cancer cells actually use a less effective method of metabolism. They get a lot less energy from one molecule of glucose than a healthy normal cell would. So basically, cancer cells need more glucose to grow. Sweet and simple, right? But when you stop eating sugar, your body will find glucose from other sources. It's because every single cell in your body needs glucose to survive. So your body is not going to allow your blood glucose to be disrupted just because you didn't eat any sugar. After all the sugar is used up for energy, then your body turns to glycogen. Glycogen is actually kept in storage and is converted to glucose when your body needs more energy. Cancer would have access to this too when your body inevitably uses this pathway. If your body then runs out of glycogen, it uses other pathways to generate glucose and energy. Either way, your body's going to find a way to make glucose, and your cancer cells will have access to that energy as well. There is a common argument in the camp of sugar fuels cancer that a PET scan actually uses glucose to light up cancer in your body. This is true, but there's actually more to it than just that. When I was diagnosed with cancer and received my first PET scan, I actually thought the same thing. They're injecting me with radioactive sugar, So that must mean sugar fuels cancer. Luckily, with a doctorate in cancer care, I worked with many experts in the cancer field and was able to learn more about PET scans and cancer. Here's what you need to know. A PET scan does use radioactive glucose tracers to light up cancer in your body. But again, it's because cancer cells are less effective at using glucose as an energy source. Any cells that use a lot of glucose for energy will light up on a PET scan, including a completely normal and healthy brain. So if this theory was correct and you deprived yourself of sugar to stop cancer cells from growing, wouldn't your brain stop functioning too? But we know this is not true. Again, because your body will find other energy sources as fuel. Okay, but then there's always the argument of there's a difference between natural sugar and processed sugar. So it's not that you have to eliminate all sugar from your diet, but you should eliminate all processed, added, or refined sugar. So basically, you can continue to eat fruits and grains. But your body cannot differentiate between natural sugar and refined sugar. They are metabolized in a very similar way. So there's really no difference there in terms of cancer growth. Okay, so far you've seen that this very simple explanation of sugar fuels cancer is actually not true. This is an oversimplified way to explain your body and cancer. But here's what your food does do and why it's truly important to fuel your body appropriately to starve or fight off cancer cells. How you eat, what foods you use to fuel your body is what's going to impact your healthy, normal cells. How you fuel your healthy, normal cells is gonna make a big difference in terms of how you tolerate your treatment. If you're well nourished and supported, then you'll be able to withstand some of the toxic treatments that are actually going to kill the cancer cells. Feeling better and being fueled more effectively is actually going to help you feel better during your treatment, allow you to exercise and move, and this has been shown to improve outcomes for cancer patients. Because cancer is filled with so much fear, it's really easy to fall into the trap of wanting to cut out a bunch of things from your diet. But let me tell you this, as you navigate cancer treatment and think about how you're actually gonna lower your risk of cancer from coming back, it's far more important to think about foods that you wanna add to your diet than foods that you wanna take away. What you eat does not actually speed up or slow down cancer growth. And the experts agree with this. The Mayo Clinic even has a statement on their website that says sugar does not make cancer grow faster. But they also have a statement on their website that says sugar might be indirectly involved with the development of cancer. This is very important, and I'm gonna share more about this because this point is actually what you should be focused on. This is what's actually gonna lower your risk of cancer. This is important. Research is consistent in showing that your risk of cancer increases if your body weight is overweight or obese. There are two reasons why an unhealthy body weight actually increases your risk of cancer. It causes an inflammatory state and it creates hormonal changes in your body. Both of these processes make it difficult to repair cellular damage that occurs from day to day, therefore increasing your risk of cancer. Therefore, many people will jump to a conclusion like this. And yes, this is true. If you eat a lot of sugary foods, then yes, you're at a higher risk of having an unhealthy body weight. But there's something else that also places you at risk of having an unhealthy body weight, and it's not what you think. If you decide that completely and totally cutting sugar out of your nutrition is what's right for you, then there's something that you need to know. Cutting sugar completely out of your nutrition is incredibly difficult to do. The overwhelming majority of people are not able to stick with this long term. Because you're gonna be a cancer survivor for the rest of your life, this is something that you're gonna need to do long term. So here's what ultimately ends up happening when someone tries to totally deprive themselves of sugar. Eventually you end up caving in, and instead of having just one bite of chocolate or a reasonable amount of ice cream, you end up totally and completely in a sugar coma. You actually end up eating more sugar than if you just allowed yourself to have little bits along the way. Okay, but notice how I said little bits along the way? There's a difference between eating a little and eating a lot. If you eat a lot of foods that cause you to have an unhealthy body weight, then this can lead to an increased risk of cancer. Eating lots of sugary foods can definitely contribute to weight gain, but this doesn't mean that sugar fuels cancer. You can still gain weight without eating any sugar at all. Now, a healthy body weight is actually individualized to you. I strongly dislike using BMI on its own because it's widely known to be inaccurate. Instead, this needs to be something that's customized to you and your body. How you actually get to a healthy body weight also needs to be customized to you. After cancer, you need specialized support to help you either get to a healthy body weight or maintain a healthy body weight. Okay, so sugar does not fuel cancer. Completely eliminating sugar from your diet is not the answer, But there is some good news. There are some proven strategies to reduce your risk of cancer or a cancer recurrence. There are steps that you can take that are very effective. That's exactly why I've linked up this next video here on 9 ways to naturally lower your risk of cancer. This is the next really important step for you, so don't miss out. I'll see you in the next video.